It's a quick video on the MUB MOD dose. The MUB MOD dose is this platform that you see here, this FDE platform that has a bunch of M-LOK slots and 1/4 inch 20 threads. It's essentially a TAC table or a tactical table. TAC tables are basically platforms you can put on a tripod used for support. More often than not, you'll see TAC tables in use as sort of a platform that you can put a bag on, and then you can rest your rifle on the bag instead of clamping your gun into the tripod. But for this particular type of scenario, the MUB MOD dose was designed more for an observation type of platform. You can see here I have 2 binoculars on it, and I'll take off my SIG Kilo 6K to show you that this will accommodate various clamps because there's a bunch of M-LOK slots, 1/4 inch 20 threads. For True North Raven makes a M-LOK adapter, which you can then place a BT17, I think that's what it's called, interface type of clamp. For example, that's used for Atlas bipods. And this is an Area 419 BTC Pro, which I put on this interface here, which then interfaces the MOD dose, or the M-LOK slot on the MOD dose. And then I can put anything with an Arca Swiss plate or compatible plate on this. And on this side, I have my NL Pure 12x42s. This is the micro ball head from Really Right Stuff. It supports a small amount of weight. Let me just move this. Sorry, this is in the way here. This is my wind vane. We'll talk about that in a second. Basically, the NL Pure is on this micro ball head. I can't remember what this one is called. For the life of me, I think it's a B17 ball head. Is it on here? I'll put it in the captions what this ball, it's a micro ball head from Really Right Stuff. But essentially it just fits on a 1/4 inch 20 thread, and then it uses a screw knob clamp. And then you have a single lever to sort of articulate the ball head, just like if it was a ball head. But essentially this is, supports a small amount of weight, and it fits in this 1/4 inch 20 thread on the MOD dose. And an example of other things you can put here, you can see, maybe you can see this, if I tilt it forward, make sure I got everything clamped in here for my binos to fall off. But if I tilt it forward for you, you can see that there is a Picatinny rail here. This is a Magpul pick rail I just put on, it attaches to the M-LOK slots. Kind of the idea there is that I can put a scope here. If I wanted to put a scope for some odd reason on top of this MOD dose, I could do that with just standard scope rings that are compatible with Picatinny. Got a spur mount or whatever, I can just put my scope on here. Maybe I want to do some testing of a scope, maybe at home, and I don't want to bust out my rifle on the street, just out in my front yard. I can just go ahead and put a scope on here, and nobody would really bat an eye, I guess. Maybe they'll look at me when I'm doing it, but at least I won't, freak the neighbors out if I have like a scoped rifle and just kind of looking at various things out in the neighborhood. And if you can see in frame, I kind of have the camera too close on this, even this wide angle. So I have this custom-made weather vane, and I think I made it a little too tall. I'll probably shorten it up by another 3 inches or 4 inches. But essentially, I have this weather flow wind meter, which came with my SIG Kilo 8K, which is in my pocket, my SIG Kilo 8K. And essentially, I put it on a wind vane that I found on eBay. And then on top of that, I put on some cheap Amazon sourced ball head, which then I just made my own 1/4 inch 20 threaded kind of mast here. And I just found 1/4 inch diameter steel rod from Ace. And then I just tapped each side, or threaded each side. And then I can just use it on both the micro ball head and the MOD dose. And so now I have like a wind vane here. I kind of wanted it tall so my head's not blocking the way, but I can definitely have it a little bit shorter. But as you can see on my SIG Kilo 8K here, this is technically can Bluetooth to one another, and then I can get the wind data off of that, and then range, and then get my ballistics data with the wind information coming off, at least from my position. Anyway, this is an interesting kind of platform. They are kind of expensive though. The MUB MOD dose runs for $185, I believe, and then once you start adding on a bunch of the necessary adapters that you'll need to attach devices, you're spending twice as much, if not more, because like this micro ball head I think was $130. The BTC Pro I think runs $80, and then this clamp adapter for the BTC Pro to the MOD dose is another $40. So you're spending a lot of money for something that you may not need. I wanted an observation platform, and I figured this would be a good opportunity to like try it out. And so I can have binos, I can have 2 sets of binos, I can have a spotting scope in a bino, laser rangefinder bino, whatever I want. I can have various things here for an observation platform, and I can maybe spot 2 different targets at 2 different angles. with two different optical devices. And so I have a lot of flexibility here from as far as a observation standpoint. And I have my Kestrel sitting around here. Maybe if I were so inclined, I can get a Kestrel mount or something, and maybe I can get a weather vane for the Kestrel, and I can run the Kestrel here as well instead of the weather flow wind meter. But I wanted this as an example, and this was the weather flow wind meter is just sitting in a box and not being used. So I figured it'd be a nice idea just to have it here as kind of a test deployment type thing. But anyway, MUB MOD dose, you can get it directly from the MUB. Interesting platform. If you're interested in an observation platform, this is one option. There's a few other options out there, like the Able Table and Really Rest Stuff makes their own sort of, it looks like a bar, aluminum bar, and then you can put a bunch of clamps on it. They're all gonna pretty much cost you the same for the platform, and then you're spending a lot of money for all the different adapters and clamps. So you're gonna invest quite a bit regardless of which option you go with, but the MUB MOD dose is one option that you may wanna try. And I already wrote a review on this, so if you wanna read that review, I'll put the link in the video description, and you can see a bunch of photos of the MOD dose, because this video, I don't have different angles on this. So definitely check out that article if you're interested in the MUB MOD dose.